Hello and welcome to Avenger Park, and what a contest you've decided to tune in for. It is first versus third. Two of the most attractive attacking sides in the division battling it out in what is shaping up as a thrilling title race. It's Avondale FC taking on the Bentleigh Greens. I'm Josh Parrish. I've got the legendary Greg Blake here alongside me. Blakey, you must be looking forward to this one.
I am absolutely jet propelled today. Josh, thanks for that. A beautiful day, a beautiful winter's day here in Melbourne. I sat bolt upright. There's not very many days where I get up and look forward to the rest of the day, but today I sat bolt upright and I thought, blockbuster. So grab the kids, ring your neighbours, ring your nephews and everybody else, get them on the devices, because I reckon this is going to be an absolute rip snorter. Two of the big guns of the competition. It's the Avengers against Bentleigh Greens, and we've got a beautiful day for it, Josh.
Yeah, let's hope that forecast rain holds off at the moment. It is absolutely perfect out there for players and spectators alike. We'll go through the starting lineups. In goal for Avondale, the home side, is Rory Bryan, number 44. Across the back line, number 27, Dylan Jacoupy is at right back. Number 14, Blake Carpenter at left back. The centre-back combination is number 5, Matt Reid, and the captain today, number 2, Scott Hillier. A midfield three composed of new signing number 25, Mario Barcia, who is so impressed since his arrival for the South Melbourne game. Number 13, Yite Towns, who got on the score sheet last week against the Melbourne Knights. Number 18, Christian Trajeski, and the front three is number 22, Stefan Valentini, number 9, Liam Boland, and number 7, Stefan Zinni. As the match kicks off here, I'll go through the Bentleigh Greens team as well. Number 11, James Exidius, is at right back. The centre-backs are the captain, number 5, Jack Webster, and number 13, Corey Sewell. Number 3, Jacob Alexander, is at left back after deputising at centre-back while Sewell was suspended. Number 24, Thierry Iridakunda, earns a start today, an exciting youngster who's arrived from Western United. Number 8, George Lambatarides, and number 22, Mitch Hoare, make up the midfield trio. Front three of number 7, Pierce Waring, number 21, Braden Crowley, and number 17, Alex Cornelia. Here is Bentleigh breaking forward early. It just won't drop.
So, Josh, I'm just going to make... If you forget about history, you're doomed to repeat it. So the Avengers coming in on this one, an equal club record, 12 undefeated. They can set a club record and a season best this afternoon. But who wrecked their run last time around in 2019 was Bentleigh Greens here in May. It was a 2-1 win to the Bentleigh Greens. And you never know, do you?
Bentleigh certainly have a good record against Avondale and push them all the way, even with 10 men at Kingston Heath earlier in the season. Late goal deciding that one after it was 1-0 from a Yusuf Ahmed header for most of the 90 minutes. It was on a knife edge. Hopefully keeping 11 on the park today will be even tighter. Iridakunda forced backwards by the press. Webster knocks it forwards. That will evade even the quickest of the Bentleigh strikers. Chief among which is Braden Crowley, who's been in a rich vein of goal-scoring form of late. Playing a bit of a number 10 role today, it seems. Valentini for Trajeski. Carpenter on the overlap. He's got Boland waiting on the far side. Goes short to Valentini. It's been electric this season. His path is blocked, though. Bentleigh find a way down the line to Crowley. Under pressure from Barcia. Hoare stepping in field. Looking to recycle possession through Lambatarides at the base. Sewell.
Tell you what, one observation, Josh, we've got 2.5 played, but Bentleigh Greens getting plenty of football. They are up for it, I reckon, this afternoon against the Avengers, who have been a machine this season, goal-scoring wise. In fact, they have been for 3 or 4 years. They've just got that quintet, is that 5? Yeah, quintet of 5 players who all get on the score sheet. Boland, Zinni, Valentini, Ahmed, and of course Katabian. I think it's 163 NPL goals between them. Not a bad old record. Avengers ball, early going. Only had it past the half line once. Boland gets a shove. Goes short. Trojewski's given a whack. It's going to be physical today. It's going to be on. They won't leave anything out there. Don't worry about that. Webster. This is angles it away. Iradikunda. He's drawing a crowd on that far side in front of the grandstand. Who's up in the grandstand? I believe we've got a special guest up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's preferring to keep a low profile today. He might be on a scouting mission, but Tony Popovich, the new coach of Melbourne Victory, is in attendance, and it's fantastic to see A-League coaches casting an eye down the pyramid and looking at some of these talented NPL Victoria players.
Waring forces it toward the corner flag, gets a cannon, gets the corner down at that city end of Avenger Park this afternoon. Couldn't ask for better conditions. The pitch looks lovely. We're in midwinter, of course, but the rain, as Josh, you pointed out before, is staying away, which is splendid. Caniglia with the corner for Bentleigh Greens. It's a scoreless game. Two of the big old dogs going head-to-head this afternoon. Launches it into the hot spot. Good take. Affirmative by Brian. And he'll restart it toward the social club. End. There'll be a few people up there enjoying the warmth and the dinner up there, I suspect, Josh.
Certainly prime viewing position. We've got the best seat in the house, though, today. Iradikunda wins it off Valentini and cleanly, says the referee. Waring laying it off. Can't find a teammate. Barcia. Such a scrapper at the base of midfield. He's got some passing range as well. I was looking over a club interview they did, released during the week, and he said he models his game on Redondo. So, good taste from the Argentine. Boland. Back to Barcia. Jakupi. Mitch Haw stealing a march and winning a foul. He's manhandled as he won the ball. And Bentleigh trying to get it back underway as quickly as possible. Webster having to go long. Barcia for Towns. Sewell read it all the way. And he's looking for a forward option. He attempts the ambitious switch out to Caniglia, who makes up the ground. He has Exidius on the overlap. He's trying to find Crowley. A little inside channel, but couldn't force a way through.
Bentleigh Green's chasing everything down at the moment. They just look hungry, don't they?
Certainly pumped up for this one. I think one of the few sides in the league that could dream of dominating possession against the Zoran Markovsky team. Nick Tolios certainly equally ambitious as a manager in how he wants his sides to play, and they're playing some nice football early on here. Caniglia. Exidius. Waring in the box, and it's just flicked wide. Best chance of the match so far. Pierce Waring has hit the target so often this season, but he lost his bearings there, and that one's splayed well wide at the far post.
Well, Bentleigh Greens have owned the contest so far, but no translation on the scoreboard. We've played 6.5 in probably the biggest game of the NPL season here in Victoria, and it's been a ripping season as well. NPL in Victoria alive and well. Don't worry about that. Scoreless game. Bentleigh Greens again. I tell you what, that result against Hume last time out is an aberration, surely. 3-0 home loss after a 7-game unbeaten streak themselves. Two of the hottest team in the competition. Dart and Weave. Alexander spots Iradikunda in midfield. Boland tries to threaten him out of it, intimidate him out of it. He's having nothing of it. Alexander, Iradikunda again, a swivel. He lofts the ball. It'll fall into the path. Her teammate, not out of play yet, right in front of the new Melbourne Victory coach. So they want to perform there. Iradikunda does just that. Spears it airborne. Caniglia chases it down inside the line, hooks it back, but Brian at the near post, the whistle came anyway. The flag was up. Wasn't going to count. It's the blockbuster, the biggest game of the round. Couple of big ones last night. Oakley with a 6-goal romp against Dandenong City. 6-1 that ended. Or 6-0. 6-1.
6-1. Dandenong City actually took the lead in that game through Braden Mann. It was a goalkeeping fumble and a defensive calamity, really, that let him in, but after that it was one-way traffic.
I'm just going to say the same stat. That's the 9th time this season they've led a game. They've only won 2 of them.
That explains their wretched record. It's inability to hold on to leads.
It's not great, is it? Oh, dear.
Is Hillier on the ball? In fact, it was Reid, I should say. Punching one into Boland. Now Yite Towns. First time layoff for Barcia. Avondale trying to perfect these midfield rotations. It's Hillier for Towns. Such a good dribbler, but Iridakunda has been eye-catching early on. His ability to win the ball and restart play. It's given Bentleigh a bit of steel, and now they launch forwards through Crowley. Headed down to Hoare, who might curl one from here. It's deflected, and Rory Bryan with a flying save. Might well have been going wide, but he wasn't willing to take any chances. A great stop by the Avondale keeper.
The Greens have been irrepressible in the early game. Nearly played 10. They even threatened at the other end, Avondale. You don't see that too often. So they're up and about, the visitors, this afternoon. It's a big game for them because Avondale streaked 5 points clear at the top of the ladder after last weekend. And they can regain that margin into the hot spot. Boland, I think, with the spinning header, turned it away. Iridakunda, he has been so busy, hasn't he? The number 24. It's a Bentleigh Greens ball. No, yes it is. And sauntering in to take the throw, Alexander. For the visitors, launches it very deep into the penalty area. Hooked away off the outside of the right by Towns. Boland with the big bold leap. Zenny, and he comes to ground. So it will be a free kick and a yellow card. I'm not necessarily sure I'll go with that, but it is what it is, and Avondale may get the chance to launch their first real assault on the Bentleigh Greens goal at the social club end in a scoreless game.
Well, that challenge could be significant for Jack Webster, the Bentleigh captain, going into the book so early in the contest. It's a bit of a cynical one, and the referee not willing to let that kind of early foul go, as some officials might. Or stopping an attack, so fair enough too. Here's Carpenter for Avondale. Uses his option on the outside. Numbers assembling in the box, but Zinni couldn't get his feet right. That one went straight through his legs. Jakupi. Bit of time. Now he's got company. Back to Barcia, who wrong foot's wearing. And finds a ball for Yite Towns down the line. Corey Sewell blocked the cross, and we'll have an Avondale corner.
Oh, how about that from Barcia? He had to weave it through a gap that was hardly there, and he was on target, and they earned the corner. Avondale in the early going, we've played 11, and the two big old dogs are arm wrestling this one right now. Avondale have not created a chance yet, which is most unlike this goal-scoring machine. Blake Carpenter will take the corner at the social club end. Broadcast side of the ground in Avengers Stadium. Since the anticipation near post cross, it didn't have enough gas on it. Chasing it down, well done by Trojewski. Back for Dillinger. Coopy takes the safety ball. Rory Bryan is a long way out from the safety zone, and they'll manoeuvre it clear, Avondale. Long bomb into the path of Zinni. Bounces away from him. It's going to be a throw. Bentleigh Greens, deep back right lane.
Well, that's a missed opportunity off the corner, because they are quite dangerous as they pack the 6-yard box. It's what they do off almost every set piece. Avondale, if they can interrupt the opposition goalkeeper and put him in two minds. Canilia for Hoare. First time layoff. Iridakunda. Big diag looking for Crowley. Carpenter couldn't get there. And Crowley will, the former Newcastle Jets man. Canilia. Dwelt too long on the ball, but Bentleigh retain it through Lambatoridis. Harvey Lopez forced out of his box. Now Webster. Iridakunda turns effortlessly past Trojewski. Advantage paid as his heels were clipped. Alexander. For Hoare, who's been busy early on here. Mitch Hoare, the Queenslander. Waring. Turns this way, then the other. Lambatarides. They're building here, Bentleigh. They've got numbers forward and options in the box. Exidias, can he find room for a cross in? He's got 4 waiting for a delivery, but they have to go back. Lambatarides. Can't keep it from Bolins. Towns was surely fouled, and instead of the advantage that Avondale wanted, we'll have a free kick here.
There's a wee bit of frustration on the faces of the Avengers players. They don't get overwhelmed as they have been so far, but nothing on the scoreboard. So Barcia for Trachevsky running outside was Jakupi. He elected to go inside, and it's going to be take 2. They go round the Cape. Barcia for Towns. Trachevsky, Barcia, he's good. Hits Jakupi on the run. He swoops from the line, far post. Boland sends it looping. Couldn't get the angle on that one as he leapt over the line at that Social Club end, and that's a little bit better. They've gone from cold to lukewarm anyway, the Avengers, in a scoreless game.
Certainly think Bentleigh have more than shaded it so far, but Avondale showing signs of life. It's into the no man's land. Carpenter! It's Crowley in the open nets! And it is 1-0, a defensive calamity for Avondale. Carpenter and Rory Bryan couldn't get it sorted out. And Braden Crowley with the simplest of goals. What were they doing?
That's a really good point. That was just ugly, wasn't it? But having said that, Bentleigh Greens, to be fair, probably deserved of the lead. We've played just on a quarter of an hour, and the Bentleigh Greens, like a phoenix from the ashes, they got clobbered by Hume. There's the replay. I won't be watching that on the highlight reel of the year, I shouldn't think.
It's on the blooper reel, Blakey. That is shocking. I mean, in a game of such high quality between such good teams, a mistake like that, with Bryan actually outside of his area, he couldn't grab it. I think the position from the keeper there is poor, I've got to say.
I've got to say, I've seen Avondale a few times this year, and right now I just think that they've got a touch of the nerves. Bentleigh Greens have come out and gone whackety, whackety, whack, and just put them on the back foot, and it doesn't look great for them at the moment, because that was as ugly a mistake as you'll see, Josh Parrish.
In a state of shock, Blakey. I cannot believe the sort of Sunday League comedy capers we've just bore witness to.
That's terribly harsh, but you're searingly accurate as well, Josh.
Early on here, Jack Webster has shown no patience for anything resembling nonsense. He's prioritised clearing his lines as opposed to keeping possession. Valentini. Nice ball for Zinni, but his touch was poor. It's back with Scott Hillier. For Reid.
Oh,
just got his feet caught.
I'll tell you what, that was a great contest from Waring then. No easier possession right now for Avondale. Boland manoeuvred his way out of the sandwich. Trachevsky getting mauled. I did really well in traffic to Trachevsky, and in the end he's upended. Free kick to Avondale just inside the front half. Barcia hasn't weaved his magic. I've got to say, Iradakunda, how good is this bloke?
He's been a revelation. I mean, I believe his early season was interrupted by injury, so he's taken his time to work his way into the side. He's been fantastic today. Came off the bench to score a cracker against St Albans with literally the last kick of the game to seal the 3-1 win.
I reckon Nick Tolles will be thrilled to bits right now, because his boys have come out there and physically they're dominating the contests. They've really signalled their intent. This is good stuff from the visitors. Foot race was on. Won in the end by Reid. He goes back to Bryan. They play it round the Cape and off we go again, Avondale. Who normally have 3 or 4 players streaming into the front half at any given time. Right now they're on the back foot. Blake Carpenter. He'll want to just recover from that little piece of play. The go-ahead goal from Waring on 14 minutes. Dylan Jacoupy, nowhere to go. Look at them, they're just chasing everything down at the moment. Barcia swivels out of trouble. Jete Towns at half field, plays it adjacent to the line. Carpenter. Zinni corralled, great stuff. Well, almost, not on the money. And Webster, as you mentioned before, is there just saying, no, it's not happening today. Quickly taken, throw in. Sorry, Josh, and Zinni takes it deep on his right. Barcia from a distance, that is a beauty, and it went whistling over the woodwork. So finally, a shot over the bow from Avondale. They're not out of this contest, don't worry about that. It's 1-0. Bentleigh Greens 19 play, Josh Parrish.
Well, enough to cause Harvey Lopez a few butterflies in the stomach as that one flew centimetres over the crossbar. What a hit from Barcia. Caught it clean and true. More in the side for his passing and defensive capabilities. It's a heavy challenge, but play goes on.
Oh, look at that. It's
a lovely ball for Stefan Zinni to hang up. And Webster again in the way, heads it behind for a corner. So that mid-afternoon glare comes across the top of the Calabria Club.
Beautiful radiant sunlight. I know what you mean. That's really hard to look into, isn't it?
Will be Trajeski on corner kick duties. Into the near post for Reed. At the back stick, it's Valentini. Couldn't get a shot away. His effort was charged down by Canilia, and he picked up a few studs in the shin for his trouble, I think, on the follow-through. Jacoupy has Barcia, but opts for Valentini instead, who can't keep the ball. Barcia with a clean sliding challenge. 1-2 between Towns and Boland. They tried the wall pass again, but Trajeski's return, just wrong-footed Yite Towns there. It would have been a beautiful bit of play.
I'm just getting that feeling. Here they come. Avengers, I reckon it's taken getting a whack around the chops like the goal they gave away to wake them up. All of a sudden they realised we've got a contest and Bentleigh Greens are good. So Carpenter, well, he almost fell his way through the challenges, and then the final ball just skidded away from Zinni. Referee's going to have a talk to... Oh, I got no idea who he's having a talk to be honest. Well, it's an Avondale ball, so he's caught a free kick, has he?
Yeah, I think it was just Carpenter, as he stumbled there, he was actually tripped, and it was a delayed fall as he tried to keep his feet. So
makes perfect sense now that you've analysed it for me, Josh. Thank you. Upfield ball for Jacoupy. It was out of play though, and well, they want to go on with it. It's just starting. There's a couple of little incendiary sparks, isn't there? They're up by 1. Bentleigh Greens. Alexander launches it deep. A spectacular leap was thwarted by Avondale. Barcia first time, high and long, difficult for Jacoupy to draw it back in, and it's going to be an Avondale ball. They lead by 1. 22 played, first half in clearly the match of the round, and probably one of the biggest games of the season right now. The tension is palpable, and these two sides, well, they've developed something of a rivalry, haven't they, over the journey, Josh?
Absolutely. You can feel the stakes at play here today as Hillier hooks that one away. Took a deflection on the way, so Jacoupy will take the throw in for Avondale. Alexander. Trajeski's pass was a little risky, but it finds its intended target eventually. Zinni for Blake Carpenter, who had a brief sojourn in South Australia. His last season was cancelled and actually won the South Australian NPL title, so nice little loan spell for him. Boland. That's a late challenge from Liam Boland, and he may well go into the book here. Certainly a telling off from the referee as Iridikunda is prone on the deck, feeling the full force of Liam Boland's 6-foot-something frame.
Yes, I think the burner has now been turned up to simmer. The contest is well and truly on. At Avenger Park this afternoon, beautiful day. Bentleigh Green's up by one. I just wonder, Josh, too, I haven't seen Avondale start a game so nervously. I mentioned that a couple of times. I wonder if they're conscious of the 12-game run, and Bentleigh Green's coming here a couple of years ago and wrecking it then. Would it have gone out with it with a touch of the stutters?
I mean, that's what Zoran Markovsky has told me. We don't usually get beaten. If we do get beat, we beat ourselves. And
well, the last time they lost, I think, was here against Green Gully, it may have been. Way back in the early going. Bentleigh Green's ball, though.
And Liam Boland has indeed gone into the book there.
He picked the right bloke to...
He did indeed.
Right bloke to whack. Iridikunda, he's been, for mine, best on the paddock so far.
Have to agree with you there, Blake. He's really interrupted the passing sequences that Avondale try and play through the centre of the pitch. Made it difficult for Trajeski and for Yite Towns to get a rhythm going in this game. Two of the outstanding midfield playmakers in the competition. They've such a stacked lineup, the Avengers. Shove in the back on Zinni, not enough for a free kick. Jakupi's quickly taken throw for Boland. Garcia's header was short. Carpenter collecting the loose ball. Valentini has switched flanks. Has a go at Exidias now, but he's double teamed and commits the foul. As much to stop the Bentleigh counter-attack as anything.
I just keep thinking every time Avondale players are on the ball, they're like hot chips to a seagull. The Bentleigh Greens players just come from everywhere.
They've done a good job of double marking the wingers when they receive the ball. Avondale's wingers are so dangerous and can beat players one-on-one, which causes all sorts of cascading flow-on effects. Away by Carpenter. Reed attacking the ball and winning the header. Shoving the back on Crowley. Bentleigh would prefer a free kick, but the number 21's the only one appealing. The goal scorer, the only goal scorer so far this afternoon. If you missed it, a horrid defensive mix-up between defender and goalkeeper. Ball into no man's land by Jacob Alexander, and Braden Crowley, between the two stooges of Brian and Carpenter, was left with an empty net.
That was really harsh, Josh. Very funny, though.
Boland's layoff is awful off his less preferred right boot, and you can see the frustration.
There's it's that sort of palpable tension of a finals clash, isn't there? Few mistakes, and Avondale are feeling the pressure as much as they have done this season, I reckon. Belted clear by Reed. The flag came up out of play, so it's going to be a Bentleigh Greens ball toward the scoreboard end, which reads 1-0 Bentleigh Greens. And they've thwarted Avondale at every turn in the big games. I reckon he was scraggled a little bit, was Hoare, but play goes on. Probably a good call by the refs. Zidias. Nowhere to go, ball out of play. Oh, vociferous animated benches, both of them. Right, then it was the Bentleigh Greens bench went up in unison. A gripping top of the table struggle right now, but plenty of footy to come in this one.
Avondale ball eventually after bit of a set two on the sideline between referee and Bentleigh bench. Boland. Good ball for Valentini, who loves to run at players, and he's got space to run into now and options in the area. It's Zinni at the back stick, but that ball is well overhit. Valentini disappointed. He could have gone for the cutback there to Trzeski if he'd seen him.
I think Stefan Valentini is as disappointed as anyone in that. He turned away and just shook his head. He's an absolute jet, though, Stefan Valentini. 8 goals this season for Avondale, top scorer for them in the competition, but they share it round. Not today, though, because the Bentleigh Greens are keeping their Avenger opponents right out of the contest at the moment. It's been a ripping performance for Bentleigh Greens right now, particularly coming out. I'm not sure if you saw that Hume loss, but that was... I thought that might have been a disaster, but clearly it was an aberration. Josh?
Well, for some reason, Hume seemed to be the only team that have Bentleigh's number well and truly. They beat them in the FFA Cup. They beat them in the league. Something that Nick Hegarty's doing is eluding the rest of the league.
I'll tell you what, though, the thing is with Hume is when they're on, they are on. So I reckon these two teams will figure very, very heavily in the frame when the business end of the season comes, both for the Premier's Plate and in the finals. I reckon Hume will be there or thereabouts too. It's a 1-0 game. Bentleigh Greens lead it on this sunny winter afternoon. It's round 20, but game 16, is that right? Sounds about right. No, round 19. Makes no sense.
Had a few lost weeks in there that'll have to be made up midweek or towards the back end of the season. It's great, we've got crowds back to witness this one. Javi Lopez is very confident with his feet, the Spanish goalkeeper. And that's a lovely ball for Alexander. Zinni doing his defensive due diligence. Bentleigh ball. Despite appeals from the home crowd. Alexander for Hoare. Back with Lambatarides. And Sewell starts again. It's not often you see an NPL outfit use a foreign player spot on a goalkeeper, but Javi Lopez, crucial to the way Bentleigh plays, that sweeper keeper.
You don't see that vibrant crimson either.
The outfit made famous by Matty Ryan, of course. Had big shoes to fill as Ryan was pinched by the new A-League boys on the block, Western United. Has gone on to make plenty of first-team appearances and pretty much cement the number 1 spot, which is a great boon for former semi-professional players like him. We're hoping to be spotted today by Tony Popovich in attendance. Trzeski.
I thought we were going to keep it under wraps.
He's been outed and Boland has been fouled.
So 31 played and... well, Bentleigh Greens, I think they're running on top of the surface at the moment. Like they're pretty happy with their handiwork so far, and be pretty happy to go in at half-time like this. But Dylan Jacoupy just strides away, runs deep, hooks it back, gets a cannon. Boland's header into no man's land. You take Towns a long way out. He leaves it and then tracks it down. So they'll start again from almost midfield. Trojewski, Valentini lost the run of it. Again, defensively, Bentleigh Greens with the numbers and standing tall. Here goes outside for Carpenter, who overran the football and that was Hoare then. It was just like, junkyard dogs at the moment, the Bentleigh Greens. Don't get over that cyclone wire.
Now, I think there's a real opportunity here for Avondale to play some of those little wall passes that they're trying. If one of them comes off, they're through on goal. Bentleigh are playing this really tight man-to-man marking. And if they can punch a ball through the lines at high velocity, as they're trying to do, and judge the layoff correctly, as Zinni goes to the back post. Valentini rises well. Not enough purchase on the header to beat Corey Sewell. Jacoupy finds Valentini again. And Alexander, with a good bit of one-on-one defending, sends it out for a corner.
He was imperious in the air then, Valentini. It's a corner to the home side. They're down by 1. And the Gunslingers, who've scored 34, I think, this season so far, haven't been able to add to the tally. They won, as you mentioned earlier on, 2-0 at Bentleigh Greens earlier in the season. It's a corner to the Avengers Social Club. 1-0 game. Near post it was just too short, and Bentleigh Greens, they'll half clear it. Carpenter tried to turn it round the corner. It was charged down. Jacoupy doing the defensive work. He lopes back over the half line, and Brian just angles it for Reid. That's a good ball. Trojkevski down that right lane. Alexander goes with him. Trojkevski dance steps. Goes outside in the end. Wants his right. Won't get it. Jacoupy's in support. He scoops it. Far post. Boland with the leap. Zinni hammers it. And it's charged down. Bentleigh Greens with the numbers back. They're all over it at the moment, the visitors. They've threatened Avondale a few times, but they're not going to get anything easily this afternoon, I suspect, against the Bentleigh Greens side that... with a win here would be a huge fillip for their morale after last week, but it also put them back within 2 points of the rampaging Avengers, Josh.
Guess who got in the way of that rasping drive? Again, Thierry Iridikunda.
He's good.
Can't sing his praises highly enough today. Boland. Again, can't quite measure the pass. When he's on Liam Boland, he can be not only a goal-scoring force of nature, but also a playmaker in the front line, sort of a la Harry Kane, trying to find those midfield runners. At the moment, those passes are just not sticking.
And whilst I don't encourage it, he's got a wonderful physical presence as well, Liam Boland.
It's Carpenter's throw. Again into Boland, who's in a wrestling match with Jack Webster at the moment, and both players have to be careful here because they're the only two players on yellow cards, as the quickly taken free kick is not accepted by the referee.
There's Webster and the referee having a rather sombre chat. Still a 1-0 game. The only goal of the game, and the two Stooges, I'm not going to forget that one quickly. The only goal of the game on 14 and a half. Bentleigh Greens through Waring, get the lead. Free kick about a suburb outside the CBD. Carpenter halts his run. Oh, the goalkeeper came. So did Reid, but he was waving his arm in the air. I reckon he handled the footy. It's going to be a Bentleigh Greens ball regardless. We've played... this is brilliant. We've got
some stats coming up on the screen.
This is really good. So we've played 35 and Bentleigh Greens led it by Golden Hill. Match of the round in the NPL in Victoria. It's been a cracking season for the Victorian competition. And we're watching two of the bigger guns in the competition going head-to-head this afternoon.
I believe that was actually an offside there, Blakey. I think Bentleigh were holding quite a high offside line, and Reid just strayed the wrong side of it. So despite the heroics of Lopez, it wouldn't have counted. Jacoupy. Valentini lost his footing, but still recovered to win the header. Boland felt he was manhandled by Sewell. Waring couldn't get involved. Hoare can. He takes down Reid, but the ball was out of play, and a little bit of a leg-locking situation, a bit of MMA action on the far side.
Oh, they're getting willing. They're pushing it to the line, I think, Josh, right now. You would expect nothing less, though, would you? Goes beyond bragging rights. It really becomes psychological as well, as Alexander just darts in and angles the header away from Valentini, taken quickly by Jacoupy, deep down that right lane. Boland back to goal. And Jacoupy won't be able to reach that, but he will get the throw in. So, again, threatening before half-time. We're deep into this first half. Marcia, it was awkward to control. He did really well, and then he just strokes it off the outside of his right. Again, percentage football at the moment, the Avengers. There was nothing opening up. Brian a long way out from his safety zone. I've just had all the answers of Bentleigh Greens.
You mentioned the psychology, Blakey. I think it's the one side of the game that this young Avondale outfit is yet to master. Certainly Heidelberg in the last few seasons have been the ultimate big game performers under pressure. Appeals for handball against Boland, not paid. Barcia. His cross lacked a little bit of lift and pepper on it, and Waring will charge away for Bentleigh. Jakupi using his body well, playing on the edge of a foul there without committing one. Bryan restarts with Reed now, who finds Trajeski on the run, and this wasn't on the same wavelength as Liam Boland. Exidius. Canilia. Little outside of the foot. Trivella to find his runner on the outside. Bentley are breaking in numbers here, but the cross was very poor from James Exidius and his weaker left boot. Not sure why he felt the need to cut inside there when he had time on his right.
I think you made the point. I mean, the Avengers, you take a wild ride with them. They're like unbridled young colts, aren't they, the way they play football? But when it's not happening, there's quizzical looks all around. I reckon they'd love to get one on the board before the interval and just take an adrenaline rush into the change rooms. Reed lopes and over half field. He dollies it into the path of Jakupi, who's covered. Jakupi tried to spin out of trouble. Here it comes, double team, draws the crowd. Look at that, they are all over this stuff right now. Barcia was the open man, only just Iridakunda just harassed him. So he had to take the safety ball back. Now Valentini trying to break through a pack. Tracheski's down behind plate. So he's copped one as well. Oh, now it's getting good. It's getting willing. It's getting hot down there in the kitchen. Beautiful winter afternoon. Bentleigh Greens are 1-0 up as we go into the last 5 before half-time.
You love a bit of physical stuff, don't you, Blakey? A little bit of biff in your high-profile contest?
No, that's mean. I just think it signals intent when you know they're fair dinkum.
Sure.
Josh.
They're certainly committed, these Bentleigh players. They've been so dogged in their pressing and their defending. And they have the luxury of being able to play on the back foot and see what Avondale can throw at them with that 1-goal lead. Trajeski and Boland, a couple of offside players standing in front of the goalkeeper. They'll have to get out the way quickly. Just trying to block Lopez's view. It's Boland, fires into the wall. Carpenter has an option on the outside. Blocked by Webster. I believe it's Reed who stayed up after the set piece. Trajeski. Valentini. Jakupi in low. It's just difficult the way the ball sat for him to get any sort of power or lift on that cross.
I reckon Mitch Hoare will have a bruise the shape of a football. He took that full brunt from Boland a minute ago. Oh, Tracheski brilliant through the gap. Barcia goes outside Jakupi, third gear, but then could have drawn it back, and Boland's letting him know all about it, because in the end he tried to finesse it home near post, and Lopez was all over that.
Well, Jakupi, I think, will be receiving some rather firm feedback at halftime for that one. He waited far too long. Boland was waiting open at the back post, and he insisted on dribbling all the way down the line before he delivered the ball in. Of course, strikers like Boland tend to like their service early and often. That's a nice hip and shoulder from Canilia, the little man, showing he's got some poison balance about him as well, and a bit of brute.
I saw you smile when that on that challenge. You love it too, Josh.
I just like it when the little guys throw their weight around as well, Blakey. Takes all types, football. That's what makes it so.
Well, he's all right. He's come out of it alive, Jade sounds. There's white knuckle stuff, isn't it, coming into half-time? You just get the sense that there's a few more chapters to be written in this one. The physical pressure is building. There's a few little grudges, I reckon, to be settled in the second half. It's a 1-0 game. Avengers are the best in the comp. Whoa, ho, ho. As Brian, under pressure, had to release it. Hooked skyward by Saul. It'll come down eventually. Boland knew nothing about it. He was looking into that afternoon sun. Barcia, drag and roll, nowhere to go. Iridacunda is brilliant then, kept the pressure on. Jakupi. Soon as they get the football, Trychevsky tries to spin out of trouble. Now, he's going to book poor Mitch Horford. Now, I'll tell you what, I have no idea why. You let me know, Josh, you're better at this.
So, I believe it's for using some studs on the foot of Jakupi, who drew attention to the challenge with his histrionics, I think. I think that was pretty tame.
That's what I thought I was right, but I needed your confirmation, Josh Parrish.
Looking at the replay, he did catch him, so perhaps not intentional, but wouldn't have tickled. Zinni. Valentini's come all the way across, trying to create space. He just ran out of room at the end there. It's been a frustrating old afternoon for Stefan Valentini so far.
Well, he hasn't had that. He loves to get open. He loves that sprint away. He's so good at that. But defensively, Bentleigh Greens have been almost picture perfect this afternoon. Nick Tolios take a bow. Last 60 seconds before stoppage time. Keep a very keen eye on the officials. Shouldn't be too much more time added on. Hasn't been a blistering first half, but it's been a white-knuckled sort of arm wrestle, hasn't it? Zinni won't chase that down. He's mighty quick, but not that quick.
I think it's incumbent upon Avondale now to bring the excitement. The game will surely open up a little more in the second half. Bentleigh given everything in the first. As they tire.
Flag was up. Just on that, Avondale, best side in the league, scoring in the last 15 minutes of games. They've scored 12 of their goals this season. It's a third of them, all in that last quarter hour.
They've won a few of those at the death as well. It's a cracking stat, Blakey. I mean, there was a few dramatic scenes at home game against Hume City, the Dandenong Thunder game too.
Yes.
They've left it late on a few occasions. Someone skews off the right boot of Matty Reid. Jakupi one out. Now Barcia brings it forward. Boland. His layoff to Trzeski is good. Towns getting involved, but it breaks down. And that will be half-time here at the Reggio Calabria Club as Bentleigh Greens coming into this match in third place, taking on top of the table Avondale FC, have really impressed. The goal should never have happened from an Avondale point of view, but Bentleigh have been good for it. Their dogged defensive efforts, their disciplined pressing, the physicality, the positioning, the intelligence, it's all been spot on for Nick Tolios' men, and they go in with a half-time lead that they'll feel is absolutely spot on.
Wouldn't want to be anywhere else, would you, Josh Parrish? It's a ripper. Bentleigh Greens up by 1. The old champions. They've taken the knocks, but they've come out fighting. Big second half to come. Look forward to your company.
Welcome back to Avenger Park, top of the table clash in NPL Victoria. A beautiful winter afternoon for it, and a slight breeze just starting to pick up, favouring the home side, who are looking to address a 1-goal deficit. Braden Crowley, after a defensive mix-up, was left with an empty net, and the Bentleigh Greens have scrapped and clawed and pressed like absolute mongrels. They've come with a game plan today, and they've made a half-time change. And it seems as if Thierry Iridikunda, the outstanding player in the first half, has in fact been forced off.
Well, he copped a couple of whacks, Josh.
He did indeed, and Damien Iaconis, who's started most of the Bentleigh Greens games in a more withdrawn midfield role for the majority of the season, is coming on in his place. So a forced change, an attacking change at that, for the side already 1-0 up. It's a curious one, but we think surely, given how outstanding Iridikunda performed in the first half, surely it's forced by injury, Blakey.
No way that's tactical. And I'll tell you right now, the first 5 or 10 minutes of this second half, I reckon, is going to be really important. The Avengers have got the footy to start the second half, heading toward the city end, the scoreboard end. And it's about that time when you'd probably want to say Avengers assemble, because they really need a lift against the Bentleigh Greens, who are riding high at half-time. As I mentioned before, though, the best closers in the game, the Avengers, 12 of their 36 goals this year in the last quarter hour. So expect something spectacular at Avenger Park this afternoon as we get the restart. Blake Carpenter squeezes it down the line for Valentini, who decides to foot race against Zidius, and he does really well. Rounds the bend into the box. Valentini spears it. Zinni's there. Well, the crowd went up. My heart jumped, but it was into the side netting. But they've exploded out of the blocks, the Avengers, and they needed to.
Absolutely. What a start from Avondale. Still, the words of their coach Zoran Markovski ringing in their ears from the halftime team talk, and Stefan Valentini just took it all on his own 2 shoulders there to create that opportunity. Heart in mouth stuff. I suspect we'll get plenty more drama before this one is done and dusted with.
I reckon you're right.
Valentini was involved heavily in the first half, but his end product, his best intentions, just didn't quite seem to come to fruition. We're looking to turn the tide, and so will Liam Boland in the book today, alongside Mitch Hoare and Jack Webster of the visiting Bentleigh side, all with yellow cards to their names. It was Boland who, I believe, cleaned up Thierry Iridikunda and has maybe forced him off with injury.
Trachevsky tried to find a gap where there wasn't one. The loose ball cannons for Towns, outside for Zinni. The angle, big lead by Valentini. Boland, and he hooks it across the face. Well, they've come out punching. They've come out swinging at the Avengers. And they'll get the corner from that.
Valentini.
Stephen Valentini here he's got a fierce competitive streak. He's up for the second half.
Absolutely. Stretched every sinew to try and get to that ball. He was unmarked, but Jack Webster judged it better. It was Trajewski's cross that found its way to the back stick. Zinni for Valentini, trying to get a shot away. It's deflected, and favourably so for Harvey Lopez. Just ended up straight in his lap. Not sure how much he knew about it, but a happy accident for Bentleigh at the back.
2.5 minutes of fierce, aggressive, attacking football from the Avengers. I'll make a statement very, very early. Great stuff at Avenger Park this afternoon as the sun, thankfully, just nestles itself behind a cloud bank, which allows us, Josh Parrish, the power of vision.
Huge relief for our cameraman as well, I think. If that could stay there, that would be a nice little gift for the second 45, even if it comes at the expense of Some of the warmth we'd been treated to, some of the unseasonable warmth. Boland flicking it on. Xidias with the header for Bentleigh. Carpenter was up for Avondale. Webster's clearance. Reid came over the top, legally so. Sewell. Xidias with a tough ask to chest that one down. And Valentini runs out of room.
I'm no weather reporter, but that wind is really starting to gust up down towards the city and to the left of screen.
Certainly is. It could be a factor in this second 45. Reid winning the aerial duel once again. Sewell passes to no one in particular but Dylan Jakupi. And it's Zinni who has the beating of Sewell. Stefan Zinni through on the goalkeeper. Open net! Valentini equalises for Avondale. They've started like a house on fire in this second half. And they get the goal that their positive play deserved. It's 1-1, all square.
Well, I tell you what, they stoked the engine and like a steam train, and they just ploughed into Bentleigh Greens to start this second half. They get the payoff early. It's one each. Get set if you're watching on at home. Seatbelts on. This is going to be some rock and roll ride, I reckon. And how about that? Stefan Valentini, top scorer this season. He's got 9 now, and perhaps one of the more important goals of his season, his career. And now all of a sudden the nerves are showing on Bentleigh Greens. The giveaway was a cheap one. Zinni will relinquish the footy. Dylan Jakupi will just meander in to take the throw in. Inside attacking territory, right lane, with the backdrop of the Tullamarine Freeway. Jakupi waits, lofts Towns. Gentle dolly over the top. Top of the area was Webster, I think. Towns forces it back. Big leap by Boland. Now they're going to force the issue, Josh. They were on the back foot. They started on the back foot. I reckon at halftime they said, no, we are the Avengers.
It's really purposeful play. It's won them the equaliser. It could have been a penalty. Possibly a card of one colour or another for Harvey Lopez if the ball hadn't fallen so kindly for Valentini. They'll take the goal every day of the week. Alexander Boland. Space to work for Valentini, the goal scorer. Has Webster in his way. Valentini, what a strike! Oh, what a beauty! Stefan Valentini has turned it on. It's taken him 6 minutes to turn this game on its head. 2-1!
And aren't they up and about, Josh? Aren't they up and about? The Avengers, in the space of 6 minutes, have swept the Bentleigh Greens away with 2 goals from Stefan Valentini. He loved that, and I reckon that'll give him 10 for the year. And all of a sudden, Avondale, well, they're top of the ladder for a reason. They're top scorers in the comp for a reason. And have a look at this from Valentini. He just drives, picks his angle. There wasn't much room to work with. There wasn't much daylight, but he nailed it. That is a great goal. The number 22, Stefan Valentini. He's an absolute ripper, and he's grabbed a couple of really critical goals. The Avengers are up 2-1, but it ain't over till it's over. But you feel, don't you, Josh, that it's almost mirror images, isn't it? All of a sudden, Avondale are doing what Bentleigh Greens did in the first half, running in numbers and swooping it. No error to Kunda makes a difference, obviously. Trojewski tried to hit it into the path of Valentini, who's on a hat-trick. We saw a couple of those last night, didn't we? Hat-trick, Alex Salmon for Green Gully. Hat-trick for Lucas for Oakley last night. And now Stefan Valentini's on a hat-trick in the biggest game of the year.
Well, what a hit. I mean, just looking back at the replay, Blakey, I was wondering whether there was a slight deflection off Webster. Not so. It came off beautifully with the laces off the outside of the boot, and it swerved perfectly off the inside of the post. Bentleigh trying to respond. Hillier heads away for Avondale. Good slide tackle from Lambatarides. Cornelia, can he pick a pass? It's Waring. Space for the shots. Thought it was a cross, but He looked to be aiming for the top left corner, Blakey. What do you reckon?
Oh, look, I'm not sure if he was sure. Their eyes are spinning in their head at the moment, Bentleigh Greens. They've come out of the corner after the break and they've been delivered one right to the jaw. Oh, Stefan Valentini, he's gold, he's gifted. And he's scored a couple of critical goals, and I'll get the footy back, as we mentioned. They're heading to the left of screen with the advantage of a reasonable sort of breeze this afternoon at Adventure Park. Oh, that's a twist in the tail, and all of a sudden a 13-game undefeated run looks on again. It'll be a season best and a club best for the Avengers. And they are on target now. They weren't for a while, but the half-time breaks reinvigorated them. That spills for the Avengers. It's going to be a throw-in, back half, left lane. It's going to be Blake Carpenter trundles across to take it. Just the transition of the game from what we saw in the first half is remarkable. And I reckon this now shows how valuable Iradikunda was in the first half.
Yeah, you notice him by his absence, don't you? He's Carpenter for Avondale. How quickly this game has swung. And it's through midfield for Trzeski. Zinni trying to pick Alexander's pocket. And that will be a booking for Christian Trzeski. A cynical foul on the substitute Damien Iaconis.
And they're gunslingers, aren't they? The events, they just get the 6 guns out and bang, bang, and they're back on top. Not in complete control, but they've set a tone. Jakupi blind over the shoulder. Alexander was there, all out of play. All of us are just they're shell shocked. I reckon the Bentleigh Greens. The accomplished finish to that first half is nowhere to be seen. The Avengers have savaged the visitors in the opening minutes of this second half, Josh.
They've been all over them. I wonder what Zoran Markovski had to say at halftime. Whatever it was, might have sent some shivers up the spines of these Avondale players. They've come out playing like they mean to go on, playing like they mean to go one better finally and win some silverware this season. That's the goal that none of these players or coaches are shying away from. And based on the talent on the park, they should be well and truly in contention. Can they maintain their 5-point gap at the top of the table? It shrunk to 2 last night with Oakley's emphatic win. That's a beauty of a long throw from Carpenter. He hurled that. Valentini catches Webster. And made sure the referee knew all about it. The veteran centre half. As you were pointing out, Blakey, before Braden Crowley's goal, Jack Webster, the only player to score against Avondale from this current Bentleigh lineup.
Yes, indeed. In fact, you saw one of them last night playing for Oakley. That third telly, he was a jet for the Bentleigh Greens. He scored half a dozen against Avondale.
Chris Lucas got a couple as well, and he was on fire last night. Oakley have pilfered some of Bentleigh's more prolific attackers.
Look, what a season we're having now. You know, we've had 5 teams top the ladder. Here's a chance, Caniglia, and it will take a cannon. Will it? No. How to play, but what a season we've had. Oakley are now the big movers. They've put together some huge performances. Hot and cold. Hume, when they're hot, they're very hot. They'll burn you. And we've got these 2 big old bears as well in Avondale with a mission this year to finally break the drought that they probably have deserved to in the past, but they've coughed it up. You even look at the 2019 grand final against this mob, Bentleigh Greens, grudges to settle. It's a beauty. Boland. Trojevski tried to run it through the trouble zone. Boland again hooks it round the corner for the run-it. Valentini's got 2, squares it up, and that was not far away. And the goalkeeper was pretty thankful, I think, in the end to roll on it and clasp it to his chest, and Hoare comes clear for Bentleigh Greens toward midfield. Cornelia. He stop and go from Cornelia, the outside runner. Loper. There's Zidius. He's got nowhere to go, and now the double teams are against the Bentleigh Greens. Good return ball for Cornelia. They'll get the corner. Bentleigh Greens fire back at the social club end. What a gripping struggle. It's 2-1 Bentleigh Greens, Josh.
This is so good to watch. I mean, we had a really absorbing first half, but this is just outright thrilling end-to-end action with Bentleigh pursuing an equaliser and Avondale not compromising on their attacking football. Cornelia's ball in. Hillier with an awkward clearance. Trzaskowski more emphatic. Trzaskowski had a great chance moments ago. Just couldn't sort his feet out and let the ball get stuck behind him as Zinni is fouled, and Bentleigh can slow it down a touch, get their defence organised.
Let's work out what just happened. They've been hit by a whirlwind, haven't they?
It's been a frankly dizzying spectacle with Avondale really turning on the afterburners. Sewell. Barcia intercepting. Ball might break here for Iaconis, who cops one off Hillier, but play goes on. Advantage paid. Cornelia. Carpenter keeping a close eye on him. Or should I say Trzaskowski? Now it's Carpenter's turn to lay a tackle. And Boland doing his defensive work. He wins it back and he's going for the halfway special. We've seen him do it before, but his radar was off this time, Liam Boland.
Oh, they are on. They are on now. The Avengers. Confident and...
He's done it for Green Gully in the FFA Cup. He's done it at Lakeside for Avondale. Liam Boland loves a dig from halfway when the opportunity arises.
Raking ball deep into Bentleigh territory from Blake Carpenter. Zinni can't track it down. Alexander's been really busy today. He's done well. Sewell will trundle out of his own penalty area. They are very much on the back foot, Bentleigh Greens, at the moment. Had no idea what hit them, to be honest. 2 goals in 6 minutes from the start of the second half from Stefan Valentini. It's a 2-1 game. Barcia, Trzaskowski, Towns. They had to run for it, did Reid, did well. Jacopi just detours a little, launched it, hit and hope. Bentleigh Greens will come up with it. Alexander down the line. Well, holding the footy up right now, which is what they need to do just to recalibrate. They are in shell shock land, I reckon, right now. Oh, that was chopped off by Valentini. He scored 2. Flicks it. Tried to whack it outside. He had Zinni to his right, Boland to his left. The better option was probably Zinni, but Carpenter with the turnover. Now Valentini strides away. Stefan Valentini. Elegant, smooth. Oh, he looks good. Double fake out. He took one out of the contest. Trzaskowski, top of the box, onto his right, and it just goes whizzing over the woodwork at the city end. What a withering second half start by the Avengers. They are irrepressible when they're in this mood, Josh.
So good to watch. Winning the ball high up the park and attacking at pace. That time, Carpenter's cross was charged down by a desperate Cornelia.
This is why you can't not love Avondale. They'll just give you something.
They never say die, this team. Second half performers in this competition, unparalleled in the last 15 minutes of games. And they're already in the lead here after turning over a first half deficit. Braden Crowley for Bentleigh kicked us off, but Stefan Valentini, 2 goals in 6 minutes to start the second half, has the home side, the top team in front. They are top of the pile in NPL Victoria. They intend to keep it that way. It's Hoare for Sewell. And Sewell has turned it over again. Lost his bearings, lost his balance, and Valentini has been fed now by Zinni. It's Stefan Valentini for the hat-trick. Rebound off the keeper, and it's out of play. Thought it had to be, but Harvey Lopez, covering his angles, came up big.
Some of the good sides are like Mozart. They're beautiful to watch. Avondale are like rock and roll, baby. They'll fire up like this, and it's just exciting, isn't it?
What did Jurgen Klopp call it? Heavy metal football?
Oh, dear. Great stuff. Stefan Valentini with 2 just after the break. Crowley with the go-ahead on 14, and that seems like an eternity away for Bentleigh Greens, who right now are just struggling to, keep the boat out of the ship. Valentini outside Trojewski. He'll hit Valentini, who hooks it back. It was a tepid effort in the end from the number 22, but he's a bit like a wild firebrand to start this second half. Avondale just overwhelming the Bentleigh Greens in this early going. It's a thrill a minute. I reckon there's a few tales to be told in this one, Josh Parrish. You wouldn't want to be anywhere else, would you? I'm going back to pay at the turnstiles again. This has been a ripper.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic viewing. Some of the best this competition has to offer, and we've got a change here for Bentleigh. Coming off is the goal scorer, Braden Crowley. Coming on is number 19, Chudia Thargia. Bright young starlet. Developed at Ballarat City and has trained with the Melbourne City youth side, so he's highly rated by many in the Victorian game. Chudia Thargia. Occasionally goes by the nickname Mickey Tyson. I'm not sure what provenance that hails from, but he's a super sub for Bentleigh. Nice to release him off the bench to deliver a knockout blow. This time they're just trying to get back into the game. Thargia will give Jacoby something to think about on that left-hand side. Some pace to run in behind, some trickery. Scored an absolute rocket against St Albans off the bench before teeing up Iridakunda for the sealer. Long throw into the area. Reed winning the header. Mitch Hoare battling for it. Zinni wins out. And now it's Trojewski. Avondale bench want a free kick and maybe further punishment, but instead the game is stopped for a Bentleigh Greens injury. I think it might be Mitch Hoare down on the deck over there. It's been among Bentleigh's best in this game. Certainly in the first half was very influential.
I reckon you're right. We need to discover exactly what Socky Markowski had to say at half time, and then we need to bottle it
and sell it.
And sell it, absolutely. Oh dear. So Avondale now about. Oh gosh, I'm terrible with mathematics. About 25 minutes away from a 13-game season best, club best run in this competition. You never ever give up on the Bentleigh Greens. They are perennial greats. They are perennial powerhouses in this competition. But they stopped the Avengers a couple of years ago in May 2019. They stopped their run of 12 to start the season. And began the collapse, actually, of the Avengers that year, who, remember, they were early going. No, I thought they were going to steamroll the competition completely. Magnificent stuff. Still a halt in play.
Of course, Bentleigh prevailed in that 2019 grand final after going behind. Avondale need little reminding of that. Prefer fewer reminders of that, I think. Iaconis. Thargia. Alexander on the overlap. Waring. It's been prolific for Bentleigh this campaign, arriving after a spell in Japan with Cerezo Osaka's B team. Spent time at Melbourne Victory as well. A couple of first-team appearances, largely coming in the Asian Champions League.
I reckon that break in play might just serve Bentleigh Greens well, because it was like doing 3 rounds with Mike Tyson. You're sitting in the corner there and you've just got to get your breath back. So Blake Carpenter, cagey. Percentage ball, they're up by 2. What an amazing start to this second half. Big, long launch by Avondale. Hillier on the deck. Dylan Jacoupy inside his own half. Scoops it. Lovely 9-9 almost into the path of Valentini. Bob's up on the right-hand side now. He's scored 2. I reckon he'd love a hat-trick. His cross is very deep. Too long for Bowl, and he just curled it back inside. And Blake Carpenter sent a rifle shot left foot, but way, way off target. And it stays 2-1. We've played 69 minutes in this epic struggle at Avenger Park. And Avondale right now on the live ladder go 5 points clear again. An outstanding effort from the Avengers after a rocky start to the season. Liam Boland holds off 1, holds off 2, rounds out of trouble. Square ball, Trojewski can't chase it down. Towns with a rifle shot. It was a beauty, and the goalkeeper did awfully well to palm it away out of play on that far side. The Avengers have just wound up and gone whackety-whack. This is top stuff from Avondale.
What an outstanding hit from Yito Towns. His coach has told him he needs to score more goals. He netted one in a much more controlled fashion against the Melbourne Knights last week, and just unleashed from the edge of the area. Harvey Lopez with a terrific save. That ball was travelling at a velocity. Needed plenty of body and strength behind that to repel an absolute pile driver, Blakey. Have a look at this. We'll just give you a replay.
Look at that. Sensation. I tell you what, though. Lopez, it was effortless. He picked it and he did well to turn it away. It's a 2-1 game. Josh Parrish calling it.
Valentini crowded out by 3 Bentleigh defenders, but Towns has nipped in. And he's won a corner.
Well, that same voracious hunger that Bentleigh Green showed in that first half, the Avengers have got it in spades. Right now they have got the foot on the throat and they're going for the jugular like a shark circling in the water. Blake Carpenter trundles out to that far side to take the corner. They're up by a goal, 19 to play. First versus third, and the Avengers have made a significant statement in the second half. Carpenter waits, deliberates, drops it into the hot spot, glancing header. I reckon it was from Reed. It's cleared, and only to Barcia, who edges it back. They'll take control and try and build it out of the back half. Jacoupy down that right-hand lane, and Alexander on the back foot, but he's been stoic as Alexander for Bentleigh Greens in this one.
I tell you what, Blakey, that ball's on the highway. That one's on the City Link. I don't know who to invoice for that, but Jacob Alexander might be...
skidding of tyres and the sound of ambulances. No, I think it's bounced its way to safety, Josh.
Oh, good. Good to hear. They're not cheap, those, and certainly the traffic implications for the City of Melbourne are not great either. They've lost a few balls on the highway over the years of Avondale. It's a great venue to play football. Really good pitch. Worked really hard on improving the spectator experience as well this season.
That's lovely.
Here's Hoare for Bentleigh. Carpenter in the way. Sewell. The substitute Thargiath. Combining with his centre-back, who stepped into midfield and was almost picked off by Towns. Lambatoridis has it for Bentleigh though, and the attack continues for the visitors. It's Exidius on the overlap. Can he find a free man? Waring was there, but he just couldn't get the shot away in time. And Jacoupy recovered. Hoare to swing one in. And Rory Bryan will claim. He wants to go quickly, but no obvious option presenting itself.
You think about the rot roll moment in the 14th minute that got Bentleigh Greens the lead. Now look at them. They are up and running. Barcia spears one for running Boland, the loping Boland, like a big old antelope after that one. Couldn't control it, rolls out of play. It's a 2-1 game, and we're not far away from Avenger time, my friend. 12 in the last 15 minutes of games this year. They love to close it out. So it's a throw into the Bentleigh Greens, who the contrast to the first half has been staggering, astounding. But they want this one, Avondale. They really want this one. Reid goes skyward aimlessly, and it just balloons over the line. Bentleigh Greens have just got to take a breath, be a little bit patient, and hope that they can change the momentum, which has swung significantly. Reid, Barcia played it off the face of Iaconis. Valentini angles away, lopes clear. He backed himself against 3, squeezed the ball away. Trojewski, long way out from goal. Boland's got some acreage to work with left. Running with him is Carpenter. Well, just a little bit too long for Blake Carpenter. Did well to wrestle possession back, though, did Blake Carpenter. He's got Towns, who played it. No, I thought he played it off the Bentleigh Greens player, but regardless, so I reckon Iaconis has caught one right in the mush, and the referee's just come up to ask him if he needs a band-aid.
Enough to make you wince that one.
Well, I'm glad I'm not out there. Josh, this has been a ripper. I'm breathless. It's been fantastic.
The Bentleigh bench was up and about, up in arms. It's letter of the law. The referee probably should stop the game for a head or a facial injury. Back with Rory Bryan. His clearance is straight out of bounds. And Avondale yet to go to their bench. They've got Katabian and Ahmed in reserve if they need them.
How good is that when you've got the blokes like that to switch into the side? And that was rough and rugged, and it will draw the free kick. But yeah, you mentioned Ahmed and you mentioned Katabian. They can all score goals. This is a machine.
It might be more incumbent on the Riccobene brothers to influence this one if they've still got a 2-1 lead when they do decide to make a change. It actually looks as if Ahmed and Katabian might both be unleashed at the same time as we're looking at the action on the
And you've got to play to your
sideline.
strengths. Avondale's strength is coming forward in waves.
I would much prefer to score a third than try and hang on to a slender lead. Meanwhile, there's a free kick chance for Bentleigh. Good range for Pierce Waring, who steadies himself and will go for goal, but it was always too high.
Almost took out a window pane on the social club.
Put a lot of power behind it, perhaps too much.
And we are now officially in Avenger time, my friend. 13 to play in regulation. They lead by 2-1. It's been a clash, and it ain't over till it's over, kids. But it's been a clash of the heavyweights, and it's lived up to its billing. One side dominating the first half, one side dominating the second. And the latter being the Avondale team, which are now on the live ladder 5 points clear and rolling in season 2021.
Meanwhile, there's a substitution for Bentleigh. Kieran Dover entering the fray and Alex Canilia replaced. They've got another creative force in midfield on the park to try and unlock the Avondale backline. Got some defending to do here through captain Jack Webster, though. Reid unopposed for the header. Barcia closing the gap so quickly. He's been steel and silk in equal measure today. The Argentinian has added so much maturity to this young midfield trio with Jonathan Germano still injured. Lambatoridis for Bentleigh. Thargiev. Quick feet from the substitutes. He has to go back to Alexander, who will recycle and look for an alternative point of attack. Unfortunately, that only invites the Avondale press. Lopez will have to go long here. You'd favour Matt Reid in that duel. No one got a touch on it in the end. Jakupi. Head tennis between Webster and Reid. And flicked on by Boland for Valentini. The man on a hat-trick. Will he turn provider this time? It's Trzeski, the layoff for Towns. And Iaconis winning it back. The attack breaks down. Well, Avondale look just as, if not more likely to score a third as Bentleigh do to equalise, Blakey.
Oh, well, they rolled version 2.0 off the showroom floor at half-time, didn't they? And they are a solid goal, I reckon, the Avengers right now. Blake Carpenter. They'll get the throw in. They're like a beautiful sports car, aren't they, Avondale? In city traffic, they're crap, but you get them on the open road and off they go. Valentini is... he's not happy about something.
He's being replaced here, and he didn't want to go off on his near side.
And he's having a vibrant discussion with Webster, I think it is.
So Yusuf Ahmed to come on. Valentini.
Well, Valentini is probably feeling a bit aggrieved, but he's got the 2 that he needed to take him to 10 and to put the Avengers 3 points closer to the Premier's plate. Yusuf Ahmed spinning in the air,
not sure
just on the ground.
Not sure if you caught it there, Blakey, but just as he was walking off, Valentini stuck 2 fingers up at Webster to signal the...
Well, he's only telling the truth. He's only he's only telling the obvious as Bentleigh Greens break at the other end. Substitute just on the ground. There's Dovar. He gets a second look at it. The left foot is long and deep and away by the Avengers. Hooked in Lambatoridis. Away by Jakupi. Whacked up the line by Stefan Zenny. It really isn't a bad world, is it, when you can bring Yusuf Ahmed in for Stefan Valentini? Right now, Zoran Markowski would be pretty damn pleased with the response of his side since half-time, but you never know, do you? Zedius and Lambatoridis across the face of goal, and it skidded and bounced. And that would have been home, I reckon, had it have been on target. Just got the angle just a little bit off. So we've played 81, 9 minutes away from 13 undefeated for Avondale, 5 points at the top of the ladder. Not a bad effort at this stage of the 2021 season.
It's still on for all comers here. I think it was Dover, in fact, who dragged that one wide. As upon further examination, it was the substitute.
You're 100% right.
And it was a glorious opening. I mean, he had plenty to aim at. The goal was at his mercy, really, and just never got the right connection. Not a confident strike from the number 10. We're used to seeing him apply more forthright power to the ball. Towns, Trzeski. Towns just got the foot in at the right time and drew the free kick. He's so elusive, Ite Towns. In tight areas, I don't think there's anyone better.
You're blinking his away.
His ability to cut a swathe through the centre of midfield where no other player can see a gap is quite the skill set. A talented futsal player in his youth, I'm told, and you can see the hours of work that went into his game back home in Tasmania.
Oh, the Avengers, they have an enviable armoury of talent.
And we will see another change for Avondale very shortly. It will be Trzeski coming off for Joey Katabian.
He doesn't mind a goal or two against the Bentleigh Greens.
Scored an absolute bomb at the back end of 2019 and a dead rubber before the finals, if I remember correctly.
So perhaps a little of the sting out of this one. I reckon it would exhaust any mere mortal the way Avondale came into this second half. Trojewski gets a rest. He's done well. Well, they've all done well, haven't they? They've lifted significantly since half-time. And we've got 6.5 of regulation to come. Won't be too much time added on for stoppages. Don't discount Bentleigh Greens.
Not at all. It could all be square if Kieran Dover had kept his composure.
Looks easy from up here, don't you?
It does indeed. Easy for me to say, but still very much a live contest up and until Avondale get a third goal.
I mean, how's this for life, Josh? You know, we've got a beautiful winter afternoon. We've been bathed in sunshine. We've seen two really good quality football teams go head to head. The NPL in Victoria is absolutely live. It's fantastic stuff. Still only a goal. Still plenty of time as that's all clear by Webster. Towns for Ahmed.
And one's a handball.
Just, races out of his penalty area. Lopez.
He's playing ball boy there. It's handball against Yusuf Ahmed.
Well, I know times again, Josh. You're sitting down. You're exhausted.
We've got the sun in our eyes again as this game comes to a crescendo. It's Iaconis for Bentleigh. Out to Thargia. Had his pass to the ball blocked by an Avondale defender, but they restart quickly. Iaconis and Thargia just slightly getting in each other's way there.
There's just an increasing freneticism, isn't there, about Bentleigh Greens? They know times well again.
Thargia trying to run in behind. Rory Bryan was off his line, quick, smart to clear that one. Exactly as he needed to be. Sympathies with our Sportscast cameraman at this moment with the glaring sun coming over the horizon.
He's done a ripping job, as have you, Josh, if I may say so. Great calling today, my friend.
I've enjoyed every minute, Blakey. It's been an absolute treat between two teams who know how to play attacking football.
It's like they pushed a button at half-time, Avondale. It's just, it still leaves you breathless when you see it unfold like that. They came out after half-time and just tore Bentleigh Greens to ribbons for 10 minutes or so there.
Judging by the volume and quality of the chances they had in that short burst of dominance, they really should have made more of it. They should be home and hosed now, but it's still 2-1. They weren't as clinical as they could be. That might change, though, with Stefan Zinni feeding Yite Town. Zinni! Straight at the keeper.
Magnificent build-up and an even better stop from Lopez. He had to be brave and he had to anticipate, and he threw himself at the feet of Stefan Zinni. So we're inside the last 3 minutes of regulation. Bentleigh Greens trying to work their way back into the contest. Avondale top of the ladder, and well, they were steaming in the second half. It's been an incredible. Katavian gets the steal. Ahmed loses angle against the goalkeeper, angles it back, and I'll tell you what, how about that from Yusuf Ahmed, the substitute. He checks in for Valentini, who scored 2, and he gets another one in Avenger time with 2.5 to play, and it's 3-1, and that, my friend, is just about that.
They are the premier closers of this competition, are Avondale. Katavian, the fresh legs off the bench, stealing a march on Corey Sewell. Ahmed kept his cool, rounded the goalkeeper and fired it in low to evade the despairing defenders on the line. What a finish, what a contest, but that should be that. Avondale, 5 points clear.
Well, you saw Lopez and it looked as if he'd taken away Ahmed's angle And Ahmed said, no, I'm not having any of it. Stepped away even further, had less daylight to work with, but he still managed to squeeze it inside the post. It's 3-1, and the Bentleigh Greens, they've got to go back to the drawing board. They've been given a whack round the ears in the second half. They were really good in the first, but I still think the loss of Iradakunda has been really important in this game, Josh.
I think you're right, Blake. His absence has been so noticeable, as was his ball-winning
Blake Carpenter just wanted it more in the end. So about a minute of regulation to come. That goes airborne. It'll come down with icicles on it. Blake Carpenter spins out of it. Yusuf Ahmed. Carpenter again. Oh, great interplay. Towns for Ahmed. Scored one. Maybe got another in him. He trundles his way to the top of the penalty area. Releases for Towns, who made a late run. Alexander clears for the Bentleigh Greens inside the last 60 seconds. Is there 2 goals in the visitors? And the dying embers of this one. What a ripper it's been. Josh Parrish.
We've had a substitution that's evaded our attention in the chaos. It's Daniel Bowman, who's come onto the park for the last few minutes here. Exidias with the cross in, and it was Iaconis. He just dropped to him out of nowhere. Pierce Waring couldn't get enough on the header. Couldn't prepare himself and prepare his body shape for the volley, and that's over the crossbar. Perhaps that had to be that for Bentleigh to have any hope of a miraculous comeback. Now 2 changes for Avondale as they look to eat up what's left of this contest. It's Barcia off for Ricobene at the base of midfield, and it will be the other Ricobene, James Ricobene, on
how good
for
is this?
Stefanzini.
Barcia, the number 25. Josh, he's all right.
What a signing. He's exactly what Avondale have been crying out for a couple of years, I think, and he might be the impetus behind their title push.
And 2 years after the Bentleigh Greens came to Avenger Park and stuffed up a 12-game run for the Avengers, they were having none of it today. They were down at half-time, but they'll go season best 13, club best 13, and 5 at the top of the ladder. No doubt about it now as we're in stoppage.
4 minutes to add on at the end here. It's
enough to keep the edge in the contest, isn't it?
It is indeed. There's a glimmer of hope there as the 4th official board goes up. Avondale looking to ice this with 2 experienced Ricobene brothers who spent time together at this club and at Port Melbourne as well. Phil Ricobene is among the leading appearance makers for Avondale, along with the stricken Jonathan Germano. Yite Towns. Lovely feet from Yite. Carpenter's forwards. The left back. He struck a cross goal, but Jack Webster is so often in the way.
Aren't they? They want a 4th.
It's been such a bright performance in this second half. They just haven't stopped. It's been 100 miles an hour. And Bentleigh have fallen away. They can't cope with the pace.
It's been a turnaround. They've got Eastern Lions next week, have Avondale, and Bentleigh Greens go to Heidelberg. So a tough road trip for Bentleigh Greens as it stands right now. As we edge our way towards the finish line, the lengthening shadows. Boland gets it. He didn't know a lot about it. It just popped up, and flag goes up, so it's going to be Bentleigh Greens' ball. Flag. 2 minutes of foreplay, Josh. Bring it home, my friend, bring it home.
The flag was against Carpenter, who's moved into the front 3 now. Ricobene at left back with that header. Katabian loops off his thigh and into the breadbasket of Daniel Bowman. Might count himself unlucky not to start this game. He's teed up Exidias. That cross is charged down, and Scott Hillier has time to measure a clearance that's not altogether convincing. It's straight to Dover. Lambatarides from range. He spooned that one. He leant back and it came askew off his left boot.
2 goals in 70 seconds. What do you reckon, Josh?
Anything's possible in NPL Victoria.
Really is, isn't it?
Well, we actually saw Avondale come back from a similar position against Hume City in the driving rain. Perhaps was a little bit longer between the two strikes.
We've had some magnificent finishes this year, haven't we?
It's flicked on by Towns. It's Carpenter trying to put the icing on the cake.
I reckon it's been a... Oh, that is magnificent. What? Thank you.
Just been served up a post-match spread, Blakey.
Haven't we, though? Look at that.
They look after us here at Avenger Park.
Right,
we love coming here.
I'll put my hand up for the next couple of games here too. It's been fantastic. And the thing about the Avengers, Josh, in all seriousness, they put on a show. I mean, on the field, there's just something about them, isn't there?
There's something vaguely Globetrotter-esque about the entertainment value that they've dished up in this second half.
Wow.
What a performance, what a turnaround, what a team. They are 5 points clear at the top of the table after knocking off one of their fiercest rivals for the championship. 2 goals from Stefan Valentini and a sealer from the substitute Yusuf Ahmed has turned this one on its head, and Avondale take the 3-1 win. Few would have anticipated after such a spirited first half performance from the Bentleigh Greens.
We should not be surprised at the outcome, but the manner of the outcome, Josh, that first half. Bentleigh Greens came to play and they were absolutely irrepressible, keeping the Avondale threat at bay, but the second half by the Avengers was something else again, enough to take your breath away. Valentini's double, and of course, as you mentioned, Ahmed. Avengers, I like them. They've got some momentum. It's 2-0-2-1 going to be the year.
Well, unless you're a Bentleigh Greens fan watching, if you didn't like that, you don't like NPL football. That was one hell of a contest. And Avondale, they're good for it. That second half was as high octane, as high quality as anything anyone has put together this season. It's been an absolute delight to bring it to you here. Josh Parrish alongside the legendary Greg Blake. We'll sign off at Avenger Park and the home side take the spoils. The final score, 3-1 Avondale's way.